Hello my friends, welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to talk about the multifunction stalks of MOZA. It's not all that often that I am really hyped about certain pieces of hardware, but this one, the multifunction stalks, I have been wanting to review this for a long time and just buy it also for myself. Now I have been putting it off, hoping that it would come to the second-hand market, but because there was quite a limited availability for it, it just didn't happen. So I bit the bullet, I bought it new, and well, I have to say that I am very happy with my purchase. What the multifunction stalks are is actually a button box, an extra button box for your setup. In racing games, well, it is better that you have like this control box to the side, but in driving games like this BeamNG or ATS, it is much more fun that you just have the extra buttons on the steering wheel or near the steering wheel, and it just makes it look all a bit nicer. For a price of €220 or $200, the set comes with a shaft extender, a USB cable, an attachment plate for your wheelbase, a large variety of bolts to attach the stalks, an extra indicator latch, pushing sticker, and some tools to install the setup. It does look great when you pull it out of the box. With 28 switches, it offers a very broad extension of the buttons available on the steering wheel. The entire unit is made out of a smooth hard plastic with some shiny plastic caps on the end of the stalks. The silver ring in the center is made out of metal and is held into place by magnets. Removing it will reveal the extrusion for the attachment bolts. The metal is really sharp though, and you will have to be careful not to scratch the plastic itself when adding and removing it. I feel that the design in combination with the icons does a fine job mimicking the real thing. The connection is done via USB-C to USB-A on your PC, and it doesn't offer a direct connection to the MOZA wheelbase for the moment. Mounting it may require a bit of searching and cursing. At least it was for me, even with the MOZA installation video to help me out. I wanted to mount it on the R9 V2 and started to add those bolts like in the video, but it wasn't even possible to align them with the extrusions of the stalks. In the video they also show 4 bolts to be added to the wheelbase, but there are only 3 extrusions in the stalks. In all, it's a very complicated installation for me, and I could really use some more explanation from MOZA. In the end, I just mounted it with the provided shaft extension and directly attaching the stalks unit on the wheelbase without any of the extra bolts. It is also to be noted that while I could see on the website that it supports all MOZA bases to attach, but it does say in the video that R16 and R21 bases without front holes require an adapter bracket to make it work. Now they do provide a bracket that can be mounted on top of the wheelbase and which holds the stalks in place like that, but unfortunately I can't tell if this will work with the R16 and R21 wheelbases though. Mounting it to other wheelbases is, according to MOZA, also possible with using an adapter bracket. Again, it's very nice that it is possible, but it would be even nicer if they would actually provide the brackets for purchase. Of course, marketing wise, not offering them plays in their advantage, so I'm not surprised really. I did try to add the stalks to my Fanatec GTD Pro, or the CSLTD, but I didn't manage to add them with available hardware. When it comes to build quality, I would say, it's average. I mean, it all functions well. It feels sturdy enough. I don't feel like breaking it. But it's basic. I mean, they say that they made it with the real materials that you can find in the automotive industry, and I am sure that is a correct statement, but it is in the very low grades of cars that they went searching their materials. Something like the click upwards, perhaps it could be a bit smoother, a bit more magnetic feeling than you have here. Also, the buttons or the end caps that you have here, normally they can be buttons as well, but it's not the case here, and you can see it flexing a bit here. So build quality, it certainly is not bad. Just like everything that you have from MOZA, it is good quality, but it could be better. The stalks will show up in the MOZA BitHouse software, but there is not much to be configured on that side. MOZA provided some ATS-ETS configuration, which is always helpful, but most of the configuration is done in the games itself. The games I tested with these stalks are BeamNG, Euro Truck Simulator, and a niche Texas Simulator game. I didn't run into particular issues while configuring the games. However, what needs to be noted is that some of the functions like cruise control or wipers may not be available in a game. You can however just use the stalks then for other purposes like a handbrake or controlling a screen inside of the car. Setting the shortcuts up can be a bit of a painstaking job, but in the end, for all the games, I was rather pleased with the result. So the multifunction stalks were originally designed to go with the trucker's wheel of MOZA, but I thought that it's a bit too big. So I love the trucking wheel, I love the layout of it, but for me 40 centimeters, it's still I think 6 or 7 centimeters bigger than this one, and that was just too big for me. So yeah, I didn't buy that one. I still had this RSV2 steering wheel which I could use, but then you can see that it is not really designed for it, because you have here the extra shifters, which they take a lot of space, and this is something that you don't have with the trucking wheel. So the trucking wheel, it comes a bit closer to the stalks. Now closer, okay, but I can still use the indicators without that much of a problem while still keeping my hands on the steering wheel. So it's not that that big of an issue. But yeah, I think that if you can have a steering wheel which comes a bit closer to your multifunction stalks, that it is just a bit easier. You can also choose not to use the extension, which will make the stalks come a lot closer to the steering wheel, making them more accessible for people with smaller fingers. However, it does make it come really close then to the steering wheel itself. I didn't decide yet what feels like the better position for me personally. One thing that was a bit of a disappointment for me was the self-canceling blinkers. So what it was on the website that it had it, and I thought that when I put it in this position, that when I turned the steering wheel, that it would jump back automatically towards the standard position that it was in. But this is not the case. To be more precise, it should be the case, but I have not gotten it to work properly. There is a mechanism inside the stalk that has a little latch coming up when the indicator is in up or down position, and the little bump that MOZA added by means of the little sticker should bump into the latch and send it back to the center position. Unfortunately, I couldn't find out on how to place a sticker on the steering wheel so it would actually touch it when turning the wheel. I tried this with both the driving shaft extender in place and without. This might be because it was designed to work with the trucking wheel. If you have the solution, I would gladly read it in the comments. Now again, is this an issue? It's a bit sad perhaps that it doesn't have it, but on the other hand, when I just put it soft blinker, so I just push it upwards, then it starts blinking, and then it will cancel itself out after that you do your turn. So I can still live with it. When I use my car in real also, I just do the soft push for 3 blinks, and then it's done. So not really an issue. Now I'm sure you can jerry-rig something and make it work with some double-sided tape, some glue and a piece of metal or plastic, but I'm unfortunately not that guy that can create these fixes and will probably end up making a mess out of it. I might look into this when I get another MOZA steering wheel more suited for my use and less expensive than this overkill RSV2. If you hear, it does make a lot of noise when you get some heavy force feedback, something which I have a bit also as a negative point for it. The rattling noise was caused mainly by the fixation of the driving shaft extension and was resolved by just tightening it up. It's something that apparently wasn't done in a factory, so I'm glad this was actually fixed easily. Another point, on the other hand, which is a bit more of an issue, is the fixation of the entire wheelbase on the wheelbase holder. Normally I can mount the R9 with 4 attachment points on the rig that I use, Track Racer TR120. However, now with the added stalks, there is also only the possibility to attach it with 2. So you can see that I have a lot of flex now because it's just attached with 2 bolts. So that's something also to look how you can improve this with this setup. Yeah, but as a conclusion, I have to say that this is really a very good buy that I did, the best buy of 2025 so far, and I think it will remain the best buy in 2025. It's just something I looked so much forward to of using, not only for me as a driver, but also for the kids that, for example, I have a daughter which learns how to drive, and for her it is also, of course, very fantastic that you have the indicators, that you can honk the horn with the stalks. So for her it is also a very fantastic. Now, is it perfect? Of course not. It's the first of its kind, and there are plenty of improvements that can be made to it. Make it a bit smoother to move the stalks into position is one of them. For the price they ask, which, let us be honest, is a premium price, it should be just a bit more luxurious and have a more fluent feeling than it does. Another improvement would be to create some more in-depth installation videos for it. It doesn't happen frequently that I'm confused about setting up simulator hardware, but these stalks were really way too much of a hassle to install just because of the very poor documentation on it. It also feels that the automatic cancelling of the indicators could have been better. Granted, I don't have the trucking wheel and just an R9 V2 base, but since I am completely in the MOZA ecosystem with my hardware, it should work nonetheless. Last but not least, but I doubt this will be picked up, is to improve the integration with third-party wheelbases. Saying it is compatible with other hardware, but not providing the means to actually attach it to the hardware is hardly customer friendly. Again, I repeat, from a marketing point of view, it doesn't really surprise me that it is not offered. So as said, plenty of things that can be improved, but despite this, I think for anyone that loves to drive in the games BeamNG, ETS, ATS, Taxi Simulator, any driving game that doesn't involve racing, that this is really a must-have. I don't say it a lot that a thing is a must-have, but this really I enjoyed so much the stalks that I can really recommend it to anyone out there. Thank you all for watching. I hope you had something from this video. Leave a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more videos, and I will see you all next video. Bye bye.